Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay study group. This is our study group for August 8th of 2024. This is our 130th study group. We are very excited that you're here. What we're working on today is the BABOK study group for Chapter 8. This is Knowledge Area 6 for Solution Evaluation. Sorry, I'm juggling the waiting room and doing this. My name is Thea Soren. I am the president of this chapter for the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. I'm also the vice president of career and professional development. All of those wonderful things means that I'm here to help you. That's my job. Whatever you need, whatever advice you need, whatever tutoring you need, whatever you need, it's my job to help you. So please reach out to me. You can contact me through LinkedIn, and I will be glad to make time for you and be sure that we get you what you need. We want to celebrate our wins. These are the folks that have reached out to say, because of this chapter, because of our study group, they've been able to pass their certifications. Several of them, Tish and Nino, went on to be leaders in their own chapters. Nino is in the Philippines chapter, and Tish was in North Carolina. Yulia, Kennedy, Esther, and Vivian are or have been leaders in our own chapter. So we are so excited that folks see the value in what we're doing and they want to help us continue it. Let me admit people to the meeting. This is our board. You'll notice that there's a couple of spots here. We want you, but we want you to join this elite group of folks. These are folks that are important to us. They run our chapter, they keep us going, and we really do appreciate them. Alicia, right here, and Esther have recently taken on more responsibility. Alicia is the Vice President of Digital Media and the Vice President of Emerging Technologies, also co-chair of the Website Committee and the Editorial Committee. Esther is the Vice President of Technology, co-chair of the Website Committee, co-chair of the Editorial Committee. She's not here today because she is speaking to the Tampa Bay Women in Agile group about Canvas, which is a very cool thing. If you're interested in being part of our chapter board, reach out to me. We will not give you more work than you want. What we want to do is give you an opportunity to be a leader in the business analysis community. We want to give you the opportunity to use skills that you either have not ever been able to use, that you have, or develop skills that you want to have. So again, reach out to me. We have members from all over the world in our chapter. Right now, we got them in Sri Lanka, India, South Africa, Nigeria, I think Brazil, Canada, and the United States, scattered all over the place. And so we don't care where you live. You can be a member of our chapter. If you don't have a chapter home, consider us. We don't charge a whole lot of money. Most of the things we do are free. So we want to be able to provide you the training that you need. We are creating branches within Florida so that if people are wanting to meet in person, we can do so. If you are in Florida, North Florida, Central Florida, or South Florida, reach out to me and I will help coordinate your group. We're looking for not only people in Florida, but we're looking for people that want to be a director of a chapter branch. It's a really good leadership opportunity, but it will take a lot of your effort. We're also looking for emerging professionals. These are college students who want to graduate with a membership in a professional organization and perhaps with a professional certification. We have a new director of emerging professionals. Her name is Kennedy Davis. She recently graduated college. I mentored her. She has earned her ECBA and she's taken on this role. We want to help college students learn about business analysis. This is our normal Thursday evening study group from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You've also been able to reach us through LinkedIn, Meetup, or participate in this study group through Zoom. We also have bonus material on our Google Drive that gives you a lot of really good information. I'll be glad to walk through that with anybody who wants me to. We have meeting recordings on YouTube. We have over 120 hours of meeting recordings. And right here, you'll see rpchurchill.com. Bob has put an index together of our meeting recordings, so that if you want to see all the meeting recordings on Chapter 3, we have them all together in one place. He made it very easy for us, and it was an immense amount of work. We also have our IIBA chapter site. It's recently been redone thanks to Alicia and Esther, and they are continuing to make improvements on it. We do appreciate that. Let's see. Okay, these are our study group advisors. Bob, Esther, Yulia, and Uche have earned their CBAPs. That means because they are participating in this 1 hour, you get 1 hour of education credit. You need that 1 hour of education credit to apply for most of your certifications. So if you're joining us and you're joining with a phone and we can only see part of your name, please put your full name in the chat so that we give you the appropriate amount of credit. Also, if you're joining us with a name that's different than your IIBA member name, give us your name that way also. We don't want to give say your wife the credit for attending this meeting whenever it's you that's actually doing it and you're using her phone. We're talking about the 3 certifications up on the top. These are the BABOK certifications, ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP. These are the certifications that you can get by studying the BABOK, the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. There are 4 other certifications that are available through the IIBA. That's not what we're going to focus on today. It's just the top 3. You have a discount code through Watermark Learning. Watermark has given us the practice test questions that we're going to be using, but they've also given you a discount code on any of their products, business analysis, project management, or more. It's Tampa 21. It will give you a 20% discount on their flashcards or courses. Also, this month only, the IIBA has extended a 15% off renewal discount. So if you want to renew, if you're a current member and are going to renew anytime, say in 6 months, if you go ahead and do it now, you get 15% discount. And the Bluegrass IIBA has, for a very short, more amount of time until the 9th, they have a discount on their course. This is a course that's basically going to take you through the BABOK for your ECBA, CCBA, or CBAP. They're going to give you a study guide. It's 14 sessions on Mondays and Thursday evenings, which means some of them will conflict with this class, but they also have practice test questions. They have study questions. And at the end, they're going to give you a 2.5 hour actual test. Not actual test. It's a practice test like the actual test. The reason that's important is for the CBAP, that's a 3.5 hour test. If you have no experience, if you've been just doing the 25 question practice test questions, you're not prepared for a 3.5 hour test. You need to practice that level of endurance. And so this is a really good thing. I see in the comments, it's a really good deal. A lot of these courses are $1,000 and up. Absolutely true. And the Bluegrass chapter has been very, very diligent and very reliable in their ability to provide these for their members and for anyone else who is a member of the IIBA. If you have any questions, reach out to bluegrass.iiba.org. Aaron is there and he will be glad to assist you. Okay, congratulations. Esther, Alicia, and Bob are very proud to say this book is out on Amazon now. You can see Bob holding it up. This book is now in the top 700 in small business, and we're really excited about it. It is helping people get into new industries as business analysts, tells about what regulations that they need to consider or who the regulating body is, some information that you're not going to get if you just walk into an industry. So if you're a contractor or if you're developing software for multiple industries, this is a beneficial book. We are planning on making a couple of more as we have time, but we have 12 different industries in this one, so it's pretty exciting. Okay, looks like I might have somebody in the waiting room. I've got Chris's name up here. Chris, I don't know why your name is up here, but it's up here. I don't
Good
see.
question.
You're up here. Congratulations. You are now featured. Okay. So we're going to switch gears now. Let's get into why we're here. We have been working on the BABOK version 3, as you know. These are tasks within the 6 knowledge areas, knowledge areas 1 through 6. We are in the very last one now. So we know that there are 5 tasks within the solution evaluation knowledge area, and that's what we're going to be working on today. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger. We're going to be doing 25 questions in the rest of this hour. We're going to do a drill for solution evaluation. We're going to get our feedback after every question. As I begin, I'm going to remind you, just in case you haven't participated with us before, I'm going to read the question. Let's see if I can roll it up here. I'll read the question and I'll read each of the 4 answers. I need you to tell me, first of all, are one of those answers ridiculous? Is it not even in the BABOK? And then I need you to tell me what you think the correct answer is and why you think it's a correct answer. Some of it's going to be for no other reason than that sounds like the BABOK.
Could you make it a little bit bigger? Just a little.
I can try.
That's good.
Is that better, Jenny?
Thank you.
If you hit F11, you can make that full screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you even more, which I didn't think that was possible. Okay, so as we talk about why something is the right answer, please remember, according to this test, you've got to answer what the BABOK says. I don't care if in the real world you do something different, you got to answer what the BABOK says. And fortunately, for most of us, it's still pretty much the same. But there's sometimes it's a little bit different. You got to know the voice of the BABOK. Okay, so let me read. Louise has been asked to complete a post-implementation evaluation of a new automated system that was recently installed. After reviewing the project and the actual performance statistics, he saw that the actual performance was better than the metrics that had been defined, yet there were frequent complaints from end users and management about its usefulness. His final recommendation was that the system be eliminated. Which of the following might have prompted this recommendation? Although the performance was actually better than the defined performance metrics for the solution may not have addressed the business need for which the project was undertaken and was redundant. Although the performance was actually better than the defined performance metrics for the solution, many of the stakeholders complained about slow system response time. The original cost-benefit analysis completed during the project initiation was faulty in that the forecasted benefits were inflated. Although performance was actually better than the defined performance metrics for the solution, the end users complained about the new business process that was put into place in conjunction with the new system. I've got 1 vote for A.
I vote A too.
Many
A.
vote.
And I say A because their complaint is that it wasn't useful.
Okay. Let's check that answer. And that is correct. This scenario is rare but possible. And here is the reference, 8.5.4.2. Okay. Well, I'm just going to scroll, guys. The leaders of a retail store employing approximately 100 floor personnel have been hearing more complaints from employees during the last 3 months about difficult coworkers, not enough vacation time, scheduling policies, etc. In addition, 3 valuable employees had given their notice during the last 2 months. Raha has been asked to evaluate employee satisfaction. The organization has no current performance measures in place. For the above scenario, give the answer. What is the biggest benefit the chosen technique from the previous question would provide? We don't have a previous question on this, right? It didn't provide a technique, right? Am I misreading this?
That's weird.
Yeah, weird question.
Well, let's
What
see.
question are you on? Does it
If
say
he were
to
doing this, what scenario would it be? I mean, what technique would he use? He's going to evaluate employee satisfaction. What
survey?
technique? a survey. So would a survey allow Raha to ascertain if the information elicited from the focus group was representative of all personnel? It is rapid and produces reliable results. It would provide a quantitative baseline from which to measure improvement, or it would provide a qualitative baseline from which to measure improvement. The biggest benefit of a survey.
Rapid, reliable results.
I agree with B.
Okay, let's check that in.
Where do you get
Nope.
survey?
We didn't get survey. The watermark gave us a faulty sequence
No,
of.
I know that. Where did you home in on the word survey?
Oh, evaluate employee satisfaction. Okay, so surveys are a relatively quick way of obtaining data, but results are only reliable if people answer truthfully. Surveys would provide a quantitative baseline from which to measure improvement. Okay.
See, that's a little tricky. Let me just jump in. I would have answered that in terms of task 8.2, analyze performance measures. So that's the thing. You never know what question they're really trying to ask. So they might be asking a question about the test, the inputs, the outputs, guidelines and tools. They might be asking about techniques. They might be asking about any of these 6 major knowledge areas. Might be a little bit different and more limited on the ECBA. But you know, these are tricky, and the way you guys sussed it out is actually pretty impressive.
I agree. We are pretty impressive, aren't we, guys? Okay, so the reason that this one's wrong is it produces reliable results is not true. It is rapid. That is the true thing about surveys, but you can't always rely on the results, but it would give you a quantitative baseline to measure improvements if they tell the truth. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Ben isn't sure that the data generated from the performance measures is accurate, so he is hesitant to take further action. What could Ben do to understand if he can rely on the data generated by performance measures? Would it be to analyze the data from several different aspects to ensure data integrity? Test the results to see if they can be repeated and reproduced. Monitor the data for another month to see if the same results continue to be generated, or analyze the source of the data to ensure source integrity. According to the
I
BABOK.
believe this is either B or C.
I think it's
Seems like
C.
you and C are saying almost the same thing, doesn't it?
Well, yes
C
and
is
no.
about trends.
Say it again, Chris.
Yes and no. You're testing to see if they can be repeated, but in C, what you're doing is you're going for an extended period of time. That way you get some of the variations that might be caused by certain business cycles, you know, closing for the end of a period, closing for the end of a week, you know, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I agree that trends are important.
I kind of think it's B just because you want to make sure you can repeat it and reproduce whatever the
Okay.
Since he's
measure.
testing for accuracy, I'd also say B.
I'm sorry, Carl, did you say it would be C?
No, I was saying since he's testing for accuracy, I would also say B because the B is a test for reproduction, but that would be my thought.
Okay, so which one are we going to say is the correct answer, B or C?
I vote for C. We have 2 answers for 2 votes for C, and how many for B?
We had 2 for B. Let's go ahead and check C. All right. Okay, if the data is unreliable, it may be consistently unreliable. The accuracy of the performance measure is essential to the validity of their analysis. Business analysts test and analyze the data collected to ensure their accuracy and reliability. The result of performance measures should be reproducible and repeatable. Well, that is what the BABOK says. So testing to be sure it's reproducible and repeatable makes sense. It still seems like they could be the same thing. Does this seem wonky to y'all?
It is what's in the book, but
Okay, let's move forward. An IT organization recently introduced significant process changes for two teams in the areas of change management and release and deployment management. It is critical that these two teams work closely together in the future state, but they currently report to two different directors who don't see eye to eye. This is causing process breakdowns between the teams. This is an example of which of the following: how value realization can be impacted by informal alliances, how value realization can be impacted by organization structure, how value realization can be impacted by power struggles, or how value realization can be impacted by interpersonal conflict. Which one does the BABOK say? I think informed guesses are better than nothing.
I don't know if the BABOK says it, but I'm leaning towards B.
Why do you like B, Jill?
Just because you have two individuals who can be the decision makers and they are not seeing eye to eye. It's obviously an organizational structure issue, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, they're always going to have people that don't agree on things, but because of that, I think it's going to cause some issues in the process.
That makes sense. I like your logic. Do we have another answer? I've got 1D for interpersonal conflict.
I think B.
Okay,
I
I've
don't
got
think-
2 Bs. Let's check B. And B is correct. Because the bosses couldn't agree, the team's performance was sub-optimized, which is straight out of the BABOK.
so knowing these the 5 tasks would really help. So knowing these charts or flow charts or whatever at the beginning of every chapter is super helpful.
Something that Jenny reminded me of is if you look at a question and you can identify exactly which task it is, you really can narrow down your range of answers that are possible. So let's look at each one and figure out which task it is before we go on. Project team is piloting a new set of processes before full deployment. Barry, who is a BA, who is a BA who is evaluating the solution in terms of delivered value. He finds that stakeholders aren't engaged in the new processes and have instead reverted to the old way of doing things. What should Barry recommend? Conducting coaching and mentoring is a way to focus stakeholders on the new processes. Create incentives so stakeholders are more motivated to leave the old ways behind. There's not enough information provided for a specific recommendation, or conduct more training as stakeholders probably don't understand the new processes. What does the BABOK say?
I think it's D. Because this is about the organizational culture.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about limitations of the enterprise limitations.
So are you saying this is a task to assess enterprise limitations?
I believe so, yes.
Makes sense. Do I have a second vote? Thank you, Olga.
I agree with that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and think A could be an answer, but it's hard to choose between A and D for me, so I think D could be an answer, but I'm going to say A is a potential for me.
Okay, so you think if it isn't D, you think it probably is A?
Yep, that'd be my thought.
Okay, all right, let's check D. And C is correct. Goodness gracious. While the method doesn't state this specifically, the need for organizational change effort is obvious. However, it's imperative to perform a root cause analysis for the lack of engagement before a specific recommendation is offered. You know, in the real world, we would do a root cause analysis, wouldn't we? You know, it's like, so why are they not adopting it before we say you need more training or we need to motivate you? You know, maybe there's a reason. So, okay, now we know. DEMA is a BA assigned to an evaluation of a solution that isn't delivering value to the level forecasted during the project. She has gone into project archives and is reviewing all available project documentation. Why is she doing this? She is working to understand the potential value of the solution. She's reviewing the project objectives to better understand what the solution was supposed to achieve. She is primarily concerned with the solution requirements to ensure current performance measures, or she is trying to familiarize herself with the stakeholders impacted by the solution. I don't think I would go in the project archives to familiarize myself with the stakeholders that are currently being impacted. Would y'all agree we can eliminate D? Okay, so
Yeah.
why is she in the project archives?
Because she's searching for the performance measures, how they were defined. So I think it's C.
Okay,
I was thinking it was A.
so how is potential value measured? Is it performance measures?
Flows out of that.
Isn't delivering value.
So if performance measures come out of potential value, this is going to be a more specific answer and this is going to be a more general answer, right? Does that make sense, Julian?
Yeah, I guess I was looking at isn't delivering value to the level forecasted.
Right.
Um,
Okay, I've got to vote for A. and a vote-
Maybe she's trying also to adjust to find a way. There is a very interesting element that says that maybe we should adjust the performance measures at some point because they may be unrealistic. But I don't see this among the answers.
I agree. It's not there. Do I have a third vote? I want to remind y'all, this is one of the hardest chapters. So us having trouble isn't surprising to me, but don't let it get you discouraged. As long as we're learning, we're still growing here. And if I'm going to make a mistake, I want to do it here and not wait until I get to the test.
Let's go back and talk about what task we think this is about.
Okay. So is this measure solution performance, analyze solution measures, assess solution limitations, assess enterprise limitations, or recommend actions to increase solutions value?
Recommend action to increase solution value.
Agree.
Okay,
If you look in the question words, she's assigned to evaluate a solution that isn't delivering value to the level forecasted. She's got to analyze and evaluate the solution and why it isn't delivering value. I'm going to go with A.
okay. We've got 2 votes for A. Let's see what we get. And that is correct. You guys rock.
But I like that way of looking at the answer because we needed to figure that out first. And of
Yeah.
those 5 tasks, I could not figure that out right away.
Potential value is listed as an input to analyze performance measures, which is what the question is asking. The forecasted level is a benchmark against which the solution performance can be evaluated. So she was going to go look for the forecasted level. Makes perfect sense. Congratulations to those of you who figured it out. You sussed it out like detectives. Lucas is a BA who is assessing a seemingly underperforming solution. What sorts of things can Lucas do to gain a thorough understanding of the potential value that was expected for this solution? So which task is this?
I'd say the same thing.
Mhm.
Recommended actions to increase solution value.
I think you're right. So the answers possible. Lucas can assess the solution within the context of the enterprise's goals and objectives and key performance indicators. Lucas can understand the potential value the solution has by measuring its current performance. Lucas can ensure performance measures are asking the right things in the right way with the right frequency, or Lucas can evaluate and understand the potential value of the solution by comparing key performance indicators of similar solutions. What does the BABOK say he should be doing?
Mhm.
So
Is it
we'll
A?
pull this over.
I think it's A.
So here are our elements within this task if we're in the right task. And I got 1 vote for A. Do you have a second vote?
Seems to be A for me.
Okay.
and B are
Right.
both plausible.
Answer.
This answer adds the enterprise's goals and objectives, which is more comprehensive answer. Understanding the potential value doesn't end here though. Let me check.
So
this.
they said that was 8.2 when we were guessing 8.5. So this one's tricky.
Yep, it's tricky. Okay, so this is the answer we got.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, we got 2 questions based on this scenario. Chris, a CIO in the banking industry, implemented the business relationship manager (BRM) role to improve the customer's loyalty scores. Best practice framework cited the BRM role as a surefire way to ensure customer satisfaction. Chris implemented the role by the book by sending 6 new BRMs through a 4-week training course and required them to pass a rigorous exam to obtain BRM certification. The scores are in, and the customer satisfaction scores are essentially the same as they were prior to the BRM role. What might your initial take be on this situation? The solution might be high performing but contributes lower value than expected. The BRM role isn't delivering value, so the organization should write off the sunk cost and explore other customer satisfaction enhancement options. Not enough due diligence was given to the upfront analysis to determine if the BRM role was the right solution, or the solution is low performing but could potentially be valuable. What task are we talking about? It looks like it's been implemented, so I think it's task 5. Would you agree?
Mhm.
So here's our task options. Measure solution performance. We've already done that. It's already been done here. Analyze solution measures, assess solution limitations, assess enterprise limitations, or recommend actions to increase the solution's value. So which task are we talking?
The last one, yes. I think it's B.
Okay. Well, in this one of the elements of this one is you create recommendations, which includes retire the solution.
Yes, correct. So I think we can eliminate C because it looks like the due diligence was given and enough, because best practice frameworks were studied, and
right?
that's why.
I think the problems upstream, they didn't do a root cause to figure out what's going on and just jumped into the BRM. So maybe that is C. I don't know if that's right, but it seems like they should go back and figure out what they're measuring and what their problems are in detail.
Okay, for B and a vote for C. Can I get a tiebreaker or another vote?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What it means initial? What does it mean initial take?
Without going into further investigation, what would your vote be? You know, it's like you just hear about it and this is all the information you have. If you were to make a decision, what decision would you make?
Okay, if we are talking about decisions, then B is the only option that specifies a decision. All the other options, it's just pure guesses, no recommendations, no decisions.
Well,
I would say A and D, or the question says nothing about those. So now we're down to B and C. And I think that I mean B might be the right answer.
okay,
But
let's see.
C is
I'm gonna go
reasonable.
D. And can I tell you what my thought is?
Yes, I want to hear. I love your logic.
When I read that last sentence of the top, not the initial part, but the scores are in and customer satisfaction scores are essentially the same as they were prior to us implementing this BRM role. So my initial take would be, even though the solution is low performing, it might be valuable. It might just be that we haven't utilized it in such a way to make the value come out. So maybe we need to look at other options for increasing that value. That's kind of like my gut feeling, right or wrong.
They may need to do it for 6 months before you see impact.
And the question doesn't say anything about low performing or high performing.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Loyalty is a totally different deal. So that's why I'm saying go upstream and find out why they're not.
I think C. Yeah.
That's a root cause kind of thing.
But it does say it was a surefire way to ensure customer satisfaction. So
No,
I kind of like
it
your.
says the BRM, who was an organization with the sales thing, just like the IIBA says, do it our way. It's a way to fame and fortune. Well, not if you don't do it right.
Okay, let's check C.
I like C too, because best practice framework doesn't necessarily mean that the BA did the due diligence.
Yeah. Okay, let's check it. And
But
it might be true, but the scenario doesn't provide enough information to support C. The BRMs have all gained certification, so presumably are high performing, but all customer satisfaction scores have stayed essentially the same. An assumption may be made that the problem is the software is not delivering value, not the BRM's efforts.
All right, that's
This one should have
just
had,
goofy because, go ahead, Coral.
I was gonna say, this one should have had, there's not enough information option as well.
Because they're talking about the solution not as the business process,
Right.
but the BRM implementation, so it's not clear. So this is goofy.
Okay,
I'd agree with that.
let me see if I
I
can take
mean,
it.
your analysis is good, I think, to the group. So keep that, but understand that these questions can be a little twisty sometimes. I say
Okay.
that every week, and it is not likely to stop being true.
Okay, Chris, same question, same scenario. If Chris will not authorize Peyton, the business analyst who is assigned tasked to assess the BRM performance measures and recommend a course of action to move ahead with her suggested assessment activities, how should she treat this lack of BRM performance measures? Is it an enterprise problem, an enterprise risk, a solution problem, or solution risk? First of all, are all four of those terms in the BABOK?
What's wrong?
I don't think enterprise risk is,
Oh, I thought it,
but
I could be
I
wrong.
don't recall.
Okay, so what do you think the correct answer is? Do you remember the definition of risk versus issue? A risk is an unknown thing that we don't know if it's going to happen or not. This has already happened. So I don't think it's a
Well,
risk.
a lack of performance measures is a risk. I believe BABOK says that,
Okay,
but I'm not sure if this, in this particular situation, this is a solution risk or enterprise risk.
okay.
I'm inclined to a solution risk, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Do I have a second answer? I've got a lot of people in this call. I'm sure several of y'all have opinions.
let's see.
I got one vote for C.
I like D.
You like D? Did you say you like D, Bob?
Delta.
Okay, let's check
Yeah, I like-
D. Go ahead, Carl.
No, I was gonna say, I'm just gonna go with D as well.
Okay. The answer is correct. If the measures are not sufficient to help stakeholders determine solution value, business analysts either must collect more measurements or treat the lack of measures as a solution risk. For the stakeholders that support analyzing performance metrics, which one can identify risks and provide insights into the data and potential value of a solution? So before we get there, let's figure out which task this is, which will narrow down who our stakeholders are that we have options for. So these are stakeholders that support analyzing performance metrics. One of them can identify risk and provide insights into the data and potential value. So which task is it? Is
I
it
think
measure
analyze performance measures.
Yes, the
solution?
second one.
Yeah.
Analyze.
This one?
performance. I
Okay.
think it's domain subject matter expert. A project manager can manage the risks, can track them, but they don't really identify them.
Okay, so you're saying D is the correct answer, Jenny?
Well, I'm guessing.
Well, it's logical. And that is one of the subject matters, sorry, stakeholders for this, the task that we identified, task number 2. Do I have a second vote?
The answer will surprise you.
Oh, great.
Oh,
I think
joy.
it's
That means I'm
it's
wrong.
sponsor. I mean, I like B and D, but I think B is like more.
Okay,
I like B more because about the potential value. So sponsor is the one who's kind of defines the potential value of a solution, if there
Okay.
is even value.
that makes sense to me. Do I have another vote?
There is another vote for D in chat, I
Oh,
believe.
Yeah, I'd say B. I think sponsors
okay, let's check.
I associate with value.
Okay,
right,
let's
now-
domain.
Right.
They only provide input into the data for analyzing your performance, but not the potential value.
That's a BABOK thing, and it makes sense. So the line workers know the details, but the higher level managers, of which the sponsor would be one, are aware of the bigger picture. That's the general way to think about it. And I remember for much of my career, I was in the weeds and didn't always understand the larger picture. So that is maybe an insight into this question.
Okay, thank you. I'm very often in the weeds. I want to get up above and see everything sometimes. I know as an experienced business analyst who is working on a project where senior management are looking for her input on the replacement of an existing solution. She has identified the fact that the solution has reached the end of its life. What recommendation should Anu make to the senior management? So which task is this?
Recommend solution.
Okay. So is it make organizational changes, reduce complexity of the interfaces, identify additional capabilities, or retire the solution?
I just don't really understand this phrase, solution has reached the end of its life.
It means that it's no longer able to provide the value that it was originally able to provide.
Then the answer is obvious, D.
Right. I agree.
And that is correct. I'm so glad that you can ask us the questions that for things you don't understand.
I was talking about my 6-loop model, and if you look at the full life cycle of it, you add 2 more, so maintenance and use, and then end of life and replacement or retiring. And that's always something you have to be aware of.
Very good. K is a BA measure. Oh, same thing. No, I haven't read this one yet. Too many, guys. K is a BA measuring the performance of a solution. Complaints about the solution have been increasing from end users. She went into the project archives to obtain how the original stakeholders define acceptable performance. Those criteria don't seem to be the cause of the complaint, however. Among other things, stakeholders weren't happy with the overall maintainability of the solution. What else could assist Kay in her analysis? Would it be stakeholder requirements? Understanding how the original stakeholders define the expected characteristics of the solution? Understanding how the original project objectives map to the business objectives at the time. Perhaps the business changed and the solution is no longer viable. or functional requirements. So what is she going in to find?
Maintainability.
I'm sorry, Carl, I'm having trouble hearing you. Say it again.
Oh, the maintainability of the solution is what she's trying to determine, right? So,
Right?
Yeah, I also like C because maintainability, like it says, it points to the changed circumstances.
Okay.
Also, maintainability is a non-functional requirement, so that eliminates D.
Very good point. Do I have another vote for an answer? China says she is agreeing with C. Let's check the answer. And C is a fabricated answer. The correct answer is understanding how the original stakeholders defined the expected characteristics of solution. This is the definition for the non-functional requirements analysis technique. The availability, capacity, maintainability, speed, etc. of the solution. Okay, we made a mistake here, so we won't make it on the test, right? You are a BA trying to understand how the organization's structure will be impacted by a solution. What do you need to assess? Is it the alliances and matrix reporting, formal reporting structures, formal and informal relationships, or the organizational hierarchy? So guys, which task is this?
Assess enterprise limitations.
Yes. So what are we looking at as the answer?
I believe it's C.
Why do you like C, Olga?
Because formal structures are important, but informal are important as well. So this is a part of assessing organizational culture, I think.
Okay, very good. I like your logic. Do I have another answer? Somebody else.
could be D.
You like B?
D as in David, could be D.
Okay. Why do you like D better?
Because I think if I'm going to look at how it's going to understand how it's going to impact the organizational structure, then I might look at the hierarchy to determine that.
Okay.
Wait a second. I see your point. So if we are trying to understand the organization structure, then maybe informal relationships are out of scope for this assessment.
Or they're
Um,
subsumed within that larger view.
okay, I changed my mind. Down.
You like
D is better,
I think it's
yeah,
D
for
too.
the organization structure, yes. Because
Okay,
it's
let's check the answer.
directly stay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
You're
right
right.
from the very
On
beginning.
You
occasion,
talked yourself
infor-
out of it.
on occasion, informal relationships within an organization, whether alliances, friendships, or matrix reporting, impact the ability of a solution to deliver potential value.
I remember this phrase from the BABOK, but this is like a piece underneath this.
Mm-hmm.
It's another way of saying it. But it is formal and informal relationships whenever you're checking enterprise limitations. Lucas is a BA on a
Sorry about that.
project. He has determined that the solution is consistently or repeatedly producing ineffective outputs. What should Lucas do in order to address the source of the problem? Should it be an impact assessment, business rules analysis, cultural assessment, or problem analysis? Which one does the BABOK say?
Problem analysis.
Do I have a second vote? Tell me what you think.
I
Diane.
think that cultural assessment is unrelated because there is no any mentioning of this in the answer. So what is that cultural organizational culture may have any impact to the ineffective results.
Okay.
Impact assessment is already done. I mean, it looks like it is done. And business rules analysis, it is also a possible answer. But I don't remember that in this chapter in BABOK anything that is mentioning business rules analysis.
Business rules analysis is one of the 50 techniques and seems too specific.
Okay. Do I have a second vote?
And which task do we think we're dealing with?
I think it's the fifth task.
I think it's B or D, but I think it is either one of those, but I would take out impact in A and C for sure.
I would take out B.
All right.
Well, if solution is acting on those business rules that exist, that maybe this may be an answer. But like Robert said, this is very specific. There's no any hint to this answer in the question.
Okay. Julia says that she thinks it's D. If it's a cultural issue, it would be identified in the problem analysis. So that would take care of that one. Okay, I'm going to go and check this answer. And that is correct. This approach will identify root cause issues that will contribute to the creation of ineffective results. We are at the end of our time. I'm going to go ahead and submit the exam. We've got 11 unanswered. Out of 14, we've got 5 that are wrong. This tells me that we are not doing as well on this as we need to do to be able to pass it at the test. And you need to make a good score in each of the knowledge areas. Do we want to repeat this chapter next week?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's think about what we want to do the week after next week, though. We can take a test that is all of the knowledge areas together. That way you're not being fed which knowledge area you're talking about. I think it's a good practice to do. If we want to, we can also, or instead of that, we can go over any techniques that are causing you heartburn.
Or do a quiz on the techniques chapter.
Yeah. There are questions specifically to the techniques chapter, but I'm really interested in you bringing specific techniques. It's like, I'm just not getting this technique, and we can talk through it and be sure that not only you get it, but the other people that get to hear it are sure that you understand what that technique is. You've seen the technique questions be very visible throughout all of these, because it's, you're going to use one of 12 techniques probably for this task. And so I gave you the list at the beginning. You might want to look at the techniques as we go, but sometimes it's hard to grasp, especially if you haven't seen it. We have a lot of resources for you, but we don't know which ones you have. So I tell you what, instead of having a meeting about that, if you have a technique that's giving you heartburn, contact me through LinkedIn, and I will give you some links to things that will explain the techniques, okay? Let's plan on doing this same chapter again next week. And then the following week, we're going to do a practice test over the entire BABOK and see how you do. You've got to kind of track your things individually, how you do personally. How we do all together doesn't matter. How you do personally, how you're doing on the different knowledge areas. So we will do that week after next. Next week, we're going to repeat this chapter. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can only answer the questions that I know you have. I can only create posts on topics that I know would be beneficial. So I rely on you to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And if you need some of my time, I will set aside time for you. Okay? I will talk to you all next week. Have a wonderful week. I see a lot of progress in our understanding, and I have a lot of confidence that y'all are going to pass, but we have a few more bumps we probably need to go through. All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.